everybody, the lawn gnome is here.
Not exactly the Beatles, is it?
So, this is a movie that I was planning on having as one of my ones that got away for 2017, where I normally talk about movies that I missed in theaters the previous year, the following year. But I cannot let this year end without talking about this one specific movie. It unfortunately was a movie that I did see a trailer for when I went to see Everybody Wants Some back in April. It really didn't play in any theaters near me, so I missed it completely, but the fact that it actually came out onto DVD much sooner than anticipated, and because this was the one movie that the film critics community of YouTube was practically raving about, I had to make a review of the John Carney-directed Irish film Sing Street. And this is actually going to be a first on my channel because I am actually going to be reviewing the film itself as well as the soundtrack that goes with it and how they actually play a part and mesh together. So, Sing Street, when I first heard about it, basically is about an Irish boy growing up in Ireland in the 1980s. Stop right there! I am officially sold. Anything that has to do with the 80s I absolutely love, especially a movie that's all about coming of age. And this movie to me was just so fantastic. It was a perfect blend of what I saw as, you know, a classic John Hughes coming-of-age teen comedy mixed in with a little bit of Almost Famous. It's basically about a boy named Connor who is not really living in the greatest of conditions because times are tough in Ireland in the 1980s, and his parents decide to transfer him to an inner-city school where there are so many strict rules and nobody really seems to like him, and he's coming off as a oddball in the school, and then all of a sudden he finds this girl just across the street named Rafina, and he is just head over heels for her. And he says to her, yeah, I'd like you to do a music video with me and my band. And that's basically where the movie goes. It is a fantastic blend of learning to live in the situation that you're in, learning to love the person that you are, having a great circle of friends that will stick with you no matter what, and just doing what you love. Because if you do what you love, everything that is dragging you down, you're still going to be okay because you know that you will always have that one safe haven that makes you feel alive. And that is what the band Sing Street in this movie is all about. I love how it captures the 80s music in a bottle. I love how they take a look at some of the best hits in the 80s and how they turn it into their own lyrics and songs and sounds. It is just so amazing in the film when you actually see how the songs come together, how they're analyzed, how the lyrics are broken down. What is the true meaning of what you're writing? Because if you don't know what the meaning is, you're never going to really like what you're writing in terms of music. And that, of course, is where the soundtrack comes into play. This does not drive the movie. The movie drives the music of Sing Street. And it is such incredible music because you have some of the best hits of the 80s like pop music from M, Rio from Duran Duran, Man-Eater by Hall & Oates, and you also have scattered throughout this soundtrack all the songs that these boys put together for their band. And I will say that one of the best songs on this album, without a doubt, is Drive It Like You Stole It. I absolutely love that song. I can listen to it over and over again. And the movie itself, especially with the characters, you really feel for them. Especially the highlight in this film for me is Brendan, the older brother of Connor. And I just love how he is so passionate about helping his brother fulfill his dreams of just becoming someone that he wants to be. Not necessarily a musician, but he just wants his brother to be happy, and he basically sacrifices his own time to have that happen. Although, there is still one fault that I have with the soundtrack and with the film. With the soundtrack, there are a couple of songs that are in the movie that are not in the soundtrack, and, you know, that's always something that you're gonna have happen with any soundtrack. But there's a great song called Gold in here from Spandau Ballet, and there's an excellent song from Genesis in there, which I'm also a big fan of. I love both of those bands. And as far as the movie goes, the one thing that I'm a little upset about is the fact that you see Connor And you also see a lot of time with his friends Darren and Eamon, as well as the girl Rafina, but there are other band members that you really don't get to learn about, and they're basically just in the background. And quite frankly, I feel that the movie could have had such an extra dimension to it if they actually expanded upon the other three members of the band Sing Street. I think that there was definitely a story to tell with those three other guys. I don't know if this movie is going to get any recognition at the Oscars, and it's a real darn shame because so many people are calling it the best film of 2016. I would not be surprised if the soundtrack gets credit. Quite frankly, I would love to see Drive It Like You Stole It win the Academy Award for Best Song, because I think it is one of the best songs that I've heard this year. Even if it doesn't rake in any awards, if you haven't seen Sing Street yet, what in God's name are you living on this earth for? You gotta go out and you gotta pick yourself up a copy. This was an impulse buy for me, and I am so happy that it was money well spent because I watched it 2 times already. I have only owned this movie for less than 2 days. So I am going to be giving Sing Street 3.5 out of 4, and the soundtrack, guys, listen, if you don't like the movie, you're gonna love the soundtrack, especially if you are a fan of 80s music. And that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Please put a comment in the box below. I would love to talk to you guys about Sing Street the movie or Sing Street the soundtrack, and I will see you guys in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.